Um, and so if this is working for you, as we're getting all the live streams up, make sure to let us know in the comments, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, um, or if you're on Reinventing the Tattoo. Yeah, so today, I think I just got a notification. We're on YouTube, we're live. Today is
Good.
Monday, July 17th, 2023. Um, Good morning, Amber. Good morning, Kyle. So great to see you both today.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. And so, yeah, welcome to Drawing for Tattooers. I'm James Wisdom. I'm your host, and this is our weekly drawing show that we do on Guy Atchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community. And I think I'll go ahead and share my screen with you at this point. Maybe. Hold on. there's always something, right? There's always something that helps us get the show off to a great start. So
Mhm.
but yeah, I think this is where we like to start off with for the show, the Reinventing the Tattoo homepage, right? And um, yeah, thanks YouTube for letting us know. Yeah, and welcome to Guy Atchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are all encouraged to join us in these live stream and real world events. Um, we're hoping to, inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. With your help, we've evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand shows that have been receiving rave reviews. So make sure to hit the like and subscribe. And also, we welcome your constructive feedback. You can always contact management at Reinventing the Tattoo for more information. Okay. Remember that you can also find Reinventing the Tattoo in these fine places. The Apple App Store, right? There's an app, Reinventing the Tattoo, the app. So it's very convenient, right? Take it on the go. Google Play Store, it's also available there. Roku, we have a Roku page. 12 to 15 Roku channels going simultaneously, 24 hours a day. So you can always find, there's tons of content, days and days worth of content. So you can always find that on Roku. We're also a podcast. So you can find the podcast on all the major podcast directories, Apple and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. But remember, you can always find the latest and greatest here at reinventingthetattoo.com. Right. Yeah. So let's check out some of the offerings here at Reinventing the Tattoo. There's all kinds of professional development courses from 20 of the world-class tattooers, and they're always updating. So check out some of these courses. Right, complete course catalog, Reinventing the Tattoo canon. So this is access to Reinventing the Tattoo, which is, started off as a 3-ring binder, but has evolved into this amazing online offering that you can get access to, the canon, right? It's full of information and amazing pictures, and of course, it's Guy Atchison's educational book. It's amazing. The history of electric tattooing. This is a free course. I believe it's from Jay Brown, and he runs it. He's a tattooer, and he also runs the Northwest Tattoo History Museum. It's very cool. Yeah, you can see a la carte. You can choose all of these, any or all of these courses. Areola restoration, the holistic approach by Nick Baxter, BJ Betts lettering, Bob Tyrell black and gray. The list goes on and on. So yeah, check it out here at courses. Let's see. Right. We have a number of weekly staple shows we'd like to highlight here. And so if you scroll down, you can see, some of these offerings here that you can find on YouTube, right? Beginning Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have the Skill Building Sundays hosted by Jason Leeser. that's followed on Mondays, 9 a.m. Eastern, Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom. That's me. That's this show. Thanks for coming. At, I believe, yes, 11 a.m. On Mondays, we have the, scroll down here, Tattoo Weekly, 5 p.m. Eastern. On Mondays, we have Let's Talk About Feelings. And at 9 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, we have the subscribers exclusive drawing group. Moving on over to Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, we have the Tattoo Now show. And at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast. Right, so we would like to take a moment and thank our sponsors. And so, World Tattoo Events. WorldTattooEvents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. Lots of updates, and conventions are rescheduling like crazy. So make sure to check out WorldTattooEvents.com for all of the upcoming conventions and events in the tattoo world. Tattoo Now. Tattoo Now is technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development, management, and digital tools for tattooers of all levels. Upgrades competitive with any CRM mailing list software out there. If you want to take your communication to the next level, check out Tattoo Now. Ask for Gabe. And of course, we'd like to thank Guy Etchison for being the founder and inspiration behind the Reinventing the Tattoo community. You can learn more about Guy Etchison by visiting GuyEtchison.com. You can find paintings, prints, tattoo machines, as well as learn more about Guy Etchison's story, his origins as a painter, and then his development as a tattooer. You can always check out the site. It's very cool. And then my site. tattooingwisdom.com, where you can, I'm always updating stuff, always working on things, and so you can always come and check me out. You can schedule an appointment for a tattoo or buy a painting, whatever you're into. With that, I would like to get the show going. Hey, good morning, gang. So great to be with you today, and it's this year is flying by for sure. It's already starting in the middle of July, so
I kept thinking my birthday's 2 weeks away. My birthday's 2 weeks away. And then all of a sudden it was my birthday. I'm like, it still feels like my birthday should be 2 weeks away.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
When is your birthday?
I'm proudly 47.
Yay.
Very good year. So
what was that, James?
I'm sure it's a very good year. Yeah. I'm looking forward. Yeah. Awesome. So is your birthday today, or was it?
No, it was July 4th.
Oh, 4th of July.
Yep.
Excellent.
Me and my brother.
Oh, really?
We're not twins.
That was my next question.
We're not twins. We were born 5 years apart.
That's awesome. Yeah. So is it like, did you have like birthday parties, like joint birthday parties every?
We did that when we were young, but now we don't bother throwing a birthday party because somebody's having a July 4th party, and we'll always get invited, and they'll always include us as a birthday too. So rather than spending all that money, we just go hang out with our friends.
It's awesome. It's always it's probably an extra special holiday, right? If your birthday falls on a holiday, like you get Christmas, your birthday on Christmas, or birthday on Thanksgiving, or I don't know, like whatever, April Fool's Day, whatever the day is, it's always probably just a little bit better, right?
My daughter's birthday is the day after Valentine's Day. She hates it.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you could make it today, and so glad that Spirit. It's great to see you this morning too. How are you doing?
Hey, what's happening? How you?
I'm well. Yeah, doing well.
Good, good. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys.
Um, yeah, Kyle. Good morning to you as well. Don't want to leave you out.
Yeah, morning,
Yeah.
morning, everybody.
Morning, Kyle.
How was the weekend?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
so this is like for me this is my weekend. But
Right, yeah,
so
exactly.
I tattoo on Saturdays and Sundays, and um it's that's when the people are off, right? That's when the
Mm-hmm.
people are
Mhm.
available. So
Mm-hmm.
you serve on the weekends, you got duty on the weekends, so that way you can serve the people. But it's also, it's I mean it's like it's interesting
It's
having a Monday
bittersweet.
off. Not everybody does it, so it's kind of there's going to be pros and cons to it. Um, but it's definitely weekend is now for me. What are your all schedules? Anybody else have a unusual work schedule?
Yeah, I'm off on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I've taken 3 days off here just because I just had the baby, so this is giving me more time to hang with her. But yeah, no, I work weekends, Fridays through Mondays.
Yeah, Mondays are definitely my day off.
Hmm.
I've been doing, I take Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off, and then work Wednesday through Saturday. Sunday is my do nothing day. And then Mondays and Tuesdays are my drawing days. And then Wednesday, Saturday, tattoo days.
I think this is interesting. Having it's a 4 day work week, however you break it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's having that extra that day for drawing specifically, really dedicated to drawing. Like you probably need a day to rest. It's pretty. It'll catch up to you if you don't, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but having that extra day, where it's not really an off day, it's a day to focus on your craft, a day to focus on, developing, uh, you know, your artwork, your practice, the offering that you make, right? It's the thing you do, but also the thing you offer. Because I think of course, they're probably inextricably linked, but they need attention. And so if you're tattooing all the time, it can probably be, you know, can probably lead to burnout in some way or another.
Yeah.
Um, what
Yeah.
I guess this is something that like I'm really interested in, like balance, right? Like trying to find some kind of um, this is not self help, right? Or like self improvement, but honest to God, like you have to balance stuff. Otherwise, it balances itself out, or you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
kind of you hit a wall. You will.
Yeah.
So how do you all sort of find balance and and doing your thing?
Boundaries.
Yes, boundaries.
Yeah. First, when we start off tattooing, I don't know, we are instilled with just this idea that the tattoo gods are watching you. And if you don't sacrifice, as much time, as much passion as possible, I mean, if you don't sacrifice even your children sometimes for tattooing, then you won't be successful. And there's just that mentality that is just very pervasive within the tattoo industry. And so recently I realized I was like, I have to tattoo to live and not live to tattoo, because for a lot of my career, I was like tattooing, that's it. That's it, it's everything, and it wasn't giving me what I needed to give after a certain point, just like you said, you hit that wall. And boundaries are just great because I just have I have a particular channel that people go through in order to get a tattoo. You know, I send them to my website, and right through that website, they can set up a consultation. No DMs, no text messages. My off days are my off days. You know, and I stick by that. And even like when it's time, you know, a lot of times when it's time, I used to stay 3 o'clock in the morning just to, you know, see how many tattoos I can get. Now I'm like, when it's time to go, it's time to go. You know, it's like, no, I can't squeeze you in. I know it's small, but I can't fit you in. Just come back tomorrow. You know, it'll be there tomorrow, you know. And sometimes, you know, and of course, we live, but we're essentially like a gig economy, you know, like we have to get it while the getting's good, but just kind of believing that you're gonna be the tattoos gods are gonna take care of you. You're gonna be okay, you know. Just if you take care of yourself first. So that's one of the ways that I do balance.
I think that's very wise, and it's difficult. You know, I think you know,
Oh yeah,
it takes discipline, and it also takes, like you were saying, courage, because you know, uh, it's easy to operate from this sort of position of scarcity, right? You're worried that, like, you know, the work's not going to be there, or you're not going to be able to, you know, sort of, uh, or yeah, like, or you're offending the tattoo gods, this, you know, the big other that's there, like, watching you. So
hmm
I I totally relate to it. It's difficult, you know, like you're saying, to uh, uh, you're talking about boundaries, and it's probably going to be different for everybody. You have to sort of, maybe, but you maybe have to sort of reach them. You have to
right.
get to those boundaries first before you know exactly where they are.
hmm
But well, Jason Leeser, everyone, thank you for joining us, Jason. It's so great
Oh,
You guys,
I
to
didn't
have
do
you
it.
today.
I
Um,
didn't do it. It wasn't me.
I know. Well, we were
Never
just
happened.
talking about we were chit chatting about work-life balance.
What's
Um,
that?
right. Well,
oh,
we're not.
Jason
You
does
know,
his work.
yeah, we're not trying to think of it as you know, we're not trying to think of it as like self-help here. We're just being honest about, like, what is, you know, because there's gonna be some kind of relationship. You have you have work and you have life, and there's some relationship to it, and it, like, you know, it may not be symmetrical, right? There's an asymmetry to these things. You know, there's, again, spirit so, like, eloquently put it, you know, you like, you don't live to tattoo, you tattoo to live. It's a means, right, to getting to this ends of living, but of course, you know, they both have to serve each other. Anyway, this is where we're at with it.
I'm
What say
watching
you?
Jason say,
I
oh,
don't know if
Jason
I'm the
does his
best
work.
person to comment on that.
Let's have it. This is great, because now, you know, we want to get you know, a few different perspectives on this issue. So
So I will preface everything I'm about to say with the fact that let's see for the past, I want to say 20 years of my life, 21 years of my life, I've literally it's kind of sad, I'm not gonna lie. But
Did you say
I
you're
have a pretty
21?
no, I said for the past 21 years of my life.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah,
say. All right.
yeah, I'm not 21. So
Oh, yeah.
20,
No, I mean,
if I
22.
it
look
looks.
21, thank you, but
Yeah, yeah, right. I was
definitely not. Trust me, I
gonna say.
tried to drink with a newly 21-year-old the other night, and it did not go well.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Um,
sure it didn't. Yeah,
yeah,
no. Mm-mm.
yeah, that was a mess. But I have a sick obsession with that. I do. I can admit that. Like, if they had a 12-step program, I would probably sign up. I wrote my senior high school term paper on tattoos in the workplace as a controversial topic. I wrote every paper I could in college on tattoos and tattooing from every perspective you could think of. If I wasn't writing something or doing an art project for, my major, I was researching metallurgy so I could figure out how the different metals of different tattoo machines, like why were some brass, why were some bronze, why were some steel, why were some cast iron, why were some aluminum? I don't know. What's the benefits? What's the drawbacks? What about spring theory, right? Because this was a big thing back when everyone was using coil machines. I wanted to know about my machines so that I could create the best tattoos I possibly could. I wanted to know that so that if anything happened, I could fix it, right? So
Where
I
did you
did
study these things?
on my own. And
No, where? Like, what was the material that you studied?
oh, I've got books. I've got let's see, I've got a machinist guide to metals. I've
Yeah.
got a lot of information I found online through digging, interviews with people that I asked. I spent about a year and a half, 2 years working with a guy up 45 minutes to an hour away from me who used to build his own tattoo machines from literally the ground up. Used to make his own binding posts, used to wind his own coils, cut his own spring stock. You name it, this guy knew how to make it and do it, and it was fascinating. And I spent a lot of time working with them, just figuring out like, okay, well, what do I need to know about this? Like, what about frame geometry? I need to know that. What about, why do I need to have X amount of gap in between the rear spring deck and the back of the geometry bar, right? And how does that affect the machine? And what happens if I have more than that? What happens if I have less than that? What happens if I have a lighter armature bar or a heavier armature bar? Or what if I have a softer or stiffer front spring? What about the angle of the front spring, right? These are all things I wanted to know because in my apprenticeships, I was never really taught this is what you look for in a good machine. And that's all
Right.
I
And that
wanted
was
to
my problem. That was one of the, I know you got to finish the answer, but this is just interesting to me
Yeah,
because that was
it's
my same issue. That was like, he was like, during your apprenticeship, there's just not a lot of solid foundation that you can stand on. There's just a lot of, this person says this and that person says that. So it is interesting when you can find, information that is foundational and can help you. And 12 years tattooing in, I'm still really searching for this information. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just sometimes it can be very ephemeral. So I'm just looking for these.
so
the things that you're
I'm in
saying.
the same boat, and I've been fortunate enough to go through and talk with a few people and get a general overall gist of all of the artists that I've met. I always like to ask them, what do you look for your tools? What specifically were you drawn to the machines that you use on a regular basis, right? Because that has a lot to do with how they craft their tattoos. And some people are like, well, I don't know, I'm sponsored by this company and they gave me this machine and just figured out how to make it work, and it's like, that's cool, but like, what do we look for? What's the intention behind this? Why do people run their machines differently, right? It's a fundamental question.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you use coil machines often?
Not often, not anymore.
Okay. No, I think I love that because, because the things you're talking about, they're like profoundly interesting. There's still a lot of tattooers that use coil machines.
Mm.
I've got plenty for sale if anyone wants to buy some.
Well, I think it's useful. It's useful understanding. It's like especially this the very specific stuff. Even like the very technical things that are almost esoteric in a way. But the magic of the tattoo machine. But it's kind of interesting. Like so much technology, within the recent past was this electromagnetic coil sort of like application of that. So it was just so much more ubiquitous. So there were so many more people that were using it. You know what I mean? There was so much more sort of calling for like, again, like how springs are going to function. There is, of course, a very unique, like relationship within, a tattoo machine to that technology. But it is important. It's a part of the history, of the thing that we're all a part of. But it is also interesting too, like like really getting in depth with some of the new rotary technologies that are out there, and like I've enjoyed watching all of those Carson Hill's videos about his Numa machines and stuff like that. They're like, that guy's like a mad scientist or something, you know what I mean? But But anyway, there's a long there's so much, there is so much information out there, and it is really it's just fascinating. It's a rabbit hole, right, that you can totally go down. And but anyway, so back, Jason, I didn't want to interrupt you. So you were doing this while you were in high school, you said?
This was college.
Okay, all right, cool.
While I was in college, I would take, some extra time. I would go to the library, instead of going out and, partying with friends and, being a social human being, or what people would call normal. I went to the library and I started looking at all this stuff, and I wanted to understand it more from an engineering perspective, right? If you've got a solenoid coil, which is essentially what the coils are on a tattoo machine, how do those interact with wire, right? How does it work, right? And, why do some coils have more wire? Why do they have less wire? Why are some skinnier in the middle? Why are some bigger? And why are some taller, some shorter? These were all things that everyone I apprenticed with, no one could answer these questions.
Facts.
No one answered my questions. And it was a very basic question when I was going through an apprenticeship. I said, okay, if I'm ready to buy a tattoo machine, what do I want to look for? What makes a good tattoo machine, right? And that's all I wanted to know. And every answer I got from every artist I was apprenticing with turned around and said, don't worry about that. You don't need to know that. Just buy these and we'll show you how to use them. And I was sitting back and I was like,
that's because they didn't know
that themselves. Yeah, I was like, well, but why? Why would I buy those? Well, these are the ones I've been using for 15 years and they will run, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, but why? Like, explain to me why and I'll believe you. But until you can give me the underlying reason why, how do I know you know what you're talking about? Explain this to, like, tell me why and I'll do it right now. No problem.
Right.
But no one could explain to me why.
Like you'll get it eventually.
This reminds me of this very sort of old story about like this young apprentice enters the Shaolin monastery, right? And so the monk tells him that he has to like punch this large bowl of sand. He has to just punch it. Sorry for the perhaps the exoticism here in my story, but I believe this is this is an ancient story. Anyways, so this young monk in training, he punches this bowl of sand day in and day out, all days, punches it. So one day he just had enough, right? He just simply had enough. Right? He goes, in a fit of rage, he says, like, why do I have to do this? And he pounds the table and smashes it to a million pieces. And then, it's like, this is why. This is why you did it. Because you don't understand it. And I can't tell you why. But it helps you to develop, and channel your, the strength that's within you. I hear what you're saying. It is like, there's this, like, again, this is a, more technical term, but a hysterical kind of cry about like, why do we have to do it? I feel the same way. Why do I have to do this?
That's a great story, by the way. I might retell that.
It's all yours now. It's everybody's story.
For me asking why, it wasn't because I was questioning what they were trying to teach me. It's because I wanted to understand it at a deeper level.
I hear that, and that's a part of what I mean too. Is that like it's there's a trajectory, I think, of our development. You can't understand it yet. You know what I mean? It's going to escape our sort of everyday or our normal understanding.
I think what's happening is, so what What James is saying is you probably didn't have the capacity to understand. Capacity. You probably didn't have the capacity to understand in the way that they would have explained it to you. You know what I mean? Because you're just kind of just an early tattooer at that point. That's probably
Well,
what it was.
I was even just looking for a basic explanation, like, oh, you want a liner that's going to run consistently, that's going to have the same amount of hit every single time it goes up and down, and you want that to run faster than you want a shader. I could have understood that. Cool.
I don't know. I don't know
That
if
would
you
have
could have
been
understood
enough
that.
for me.
You,
Okay.
you can't know that. There's no way that you can know what you can understand if you haven't been tattooing for,
That's
for as
true.
long as these people have been tattooing.
But the one thing I have picked up on, and the one kind of answer that I've gotten throughout the ages from lots of different artists, was consistency, right? You want a consistent machine. You want a consistent hit. You want a consistent movement, And I used to work with a guy that was very old school, and I don't know how I did it, but I worked with him for almost 10 years and I never got tattooed by him. Part of the way I got out of that was because I just kept myself so busy doing things that I didn't have the opportunity to, which is good because I really didn't like the guy, and his work was something to be improved upon. Okay. Yeah. I've been doing this for 20 years. Great. You still suck. I'm sorry.
Sounds like my first apprenticeship.
It's like you have no concept of art or understanding of what can be done. Like, I'm sorry, but and I used to ask him, like, dude, why do you run your machines so incredibly hard? Like, so, like, I mean, this guy, he tuned all of his machines so that they could pound a 10-penny nail into them. I mean, they were brutal. I never wanted to get tattooed by this. Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know if he tuned them for maximum hurt. Like, I don't know if he did that on purpose, but like, people could only sit and get tattooed by him for like an hour at a time.
Is he still tattooing?
Don't know. Apparently, according to him, when I left the studio, I died. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I've died that way before.
Yeah, we've died a few times, James. We've had this.
I've died a few times myself.
But it's like, I remember sitting down and thinking about it. And like, I picked up a couple of, I've owned machines by Aaron Kane, Ernie D from Deluxe Irons.
Those Aaron Kane machines,
Pulse
though.
machines.
If you're a coil person, you know what I mean, and like,
dude,
you should check out.
Yeah,
King.
Veritas is still going strong here in New Jersey.
Veritas are good.
He makes great machines.
Keith B makes some of the best machines, in my opinion.
He's only about 20 minutes from me.
Exactly. Phenomenal builders, phenomenal people, right? I mean, these guys have a better understanding of tattoo machines than I ever would. But it comes down, and it's one thing I noticed from every well-known, reputable builder that's out there, and it doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it's Shag Built, doesn't matter if it's Joey DeSormo, doesn't matter if it's Ernie D, doesn't matter if it's Aaron Kane or Paco Rollins or whoever. It was consistent, right? Every time. Didn't matter what you loaded it up with. You could run a 15 mag in those. You could run a 9 mag. You could run a 7 mag. And when that amateur bar came down and went back up, it was consistent every time. And you would have a consistent hit with a consistent stroke, with consistent tension every single time.
Yeah, but there's so many other factors that go into building a good tattoo machine other than consistency. It's really difficult to kind of nail down one, especially when you want to. Yeah, every artist is different, and they have kind of different, ideas of what they want their art to do, and it's really difficult to explain that to a young apprentice.
Correct. Now, that consistent message is something that I got, and I was like, okay, well, consistency. Okay, maybe this old school guy I used to work with just used to tune his machines that hard, because with all of the rubber band tension he put on there and all of the bend in the needle bar that he used to put on there and like all of this other stuff, it was like maybe it was the only way he could get that machine to run consistent. Okay.
You never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know
Well,
what,
I
what,
don't.
what's,
And
what's gonna help
that's
somebody make a
fine.
mark.
That's fine. You know, that's that's the tools he likes to use, and that's fine. I respect that.
Well, I think it is kind of oh, yes, I think that there's what's interesting oftentimes is when we're younger, we get sort of given this picture thought, to sort of like it gets really concrete, uh like Santa Claus delivers your presents, whatever. You know what I mean? There's some explanation that fills this gap, right? Because there's a gap in an understanding. There always is one somewhere. If you keep following it down, there's always going to be a gap. And so, what I like is as you mature and as you sort of start to embrace that, that knowing, that absoluteness of like, there's always going to be there's always going to be a gap. Sort of you get to understand it in a more abstract way. And so this whole idea, like you're saying, about consistency of the machine, it has to be, synergistic with your personal consistency. Like how, like you have to be able to drive that thing. Because even the best one is not going to just do it for you. Like you have to sort of,
Well,
you have to like, attune yourself to, to this thing that's ready at your hand. And so, but I mean, that's what I've also heard about like people who hammer nails and stuff like that. Like, after so much sort of like doing it, it sort of becomes like it's just an extension of their body, right? And it's like invisible. They're just like, they could have a conversation with you, like that's the way, I think that's the way some tattooers operate too. They can just sort of conversate and like, they could just, look away and still work. They could do whatever. But I think, there's always going to be this gap. There's always going to be something new to learn.
right.
And so I think like, it's like you're on this right track and it's just embracing that's the thing. The figuring out the why, that's the whole thing, because there's never going to be that final answer that's going to satisfy you anyway and stuff. So
Well, I did get an answer that finally satisfied me.
nuh-uh.
I did.
Come on.
This wasn't up until 7 years ago.
Okay.
Well, 7 or 8, I forget which, but I remember talking to a pretty prominent artist, and I was like, okay, well, what do you look for in a tattoo machine? I'm on the quest to find the best one for me. And they said, all of these machines that you've mentioned that you own are great machines, and there are artists around the world doing incredible work with some of these machines that you've mentioned. They said, break it down scientifically. Okay. When you're using the scientific method, you go through and you eliminate as many variables as you can, and then you adjust individual variables to see what impact they have on the outcome. Okay. But you need to maintain consistency with everything else. He said, now let me ask you this. What is the biggest variable when it comes down to applying a tattoo? And I was like, I don't know. Like I felt like a caveman being given fire, And he's like, you're the biggest variable. Your hand pressure, your hand speed, what mood you're in, what angle you're at, how that machine sits in your hand. He's like, you are the biggest variable. So what you need to do is take these machines that are great and learn how to use them. He's like, adjust yourself to that machine and you will never have
You have to include yourself as a subject
Bingo.
within this science that you're doing, right? Like
Exactly.
you can't divorce the fact that it's you doing the,
Exactly.
observation in it. And
And I was like,
I think that's very important. And so
well,
I'm glad that you
same
said that.
thing comes down with painting, right? You can give 8 different artists, or pick an arbitrary number of artists, give them the exact same paints, give them a blank canvas, give them the exact same brushes, and look at the different product that comes out from them using it, right? I mean, maybe you'll have a Cy Twombly, maybe you'll have a Monet, maybe you'll have a
Your
Cezanne.
favorite.
Maybe, yeah, no, maybe you will. But also, well, so since we're on the, we're talking about inspirations and artists, we like to talk about art here. I'd love to show you all. This is an artist that I really love this artist. Not sure if you've ever heard
Dark
of
Crystal.
Mark Nelson or not, but Mark Nelson is an illustrator, does like comic books and stuff. Let's check out the oh god, so good.
That's dope.
It's yeah, no, well, so once I got a chance to meet Mark Nelson, I was in school and he, came to do an artist talk, and he, sort of talked about his process. He played a fun game, with us, with the students, and it was like, all right, like name an animal, vegetable, or mineral, right? He kind of gave us like these 3 different categories, and then he came up with this whole new creature, like on the spot, without any reference. All he had was just these abstract, just words, and then came up with a new concept kind of based on the like just a like just like some very, like, again, just some very abstract notions. And then like it was, he has definitely sort of a very, I think, recognizable styles. So there's a lot of, when you see the work or when he develops it, it looks like his sort of thing. But anyway, no, it was just a fun game, and it's like how on earth can you come up with these things? And to be honest, it really kind of starts with, well, consistency, right? But also there's a real kind of like simple approach, simple basic shapes that that he develops. What's really nice here is he's like been so kind to show us, sort of the process, kind of going backwards, but you can kind of see he's still. I believe that what he uses this blue pencil. I think that might actually be that sort of non-photographic blue pencil. If anybody's familiar with that, like back in the day, graphic designers and illustrators and stuff, they would use this this very light blue pencil to do layout stuff, so that way they could ink things, and then the pencil wouldn't show up. The blue pencil would show up like in photographic representations and stuff.
You can get them at Michael's and stuff like that. I get them all the time.
Totally. It's it's like if you grew up using them or something, that was why. But it's like what also is nice is that it gives you a very sort of light tone. You know what I mean? The tonal value isn't so strong that it just becomes distracting. It's something that you can, it's a process of building, and then you can sort of lay things in, and make your make things more definitive. Kind of like, just sort of like any kind of foundational building process. You construct something, and then it's becomes more through emphasis, right? You start to control our eye, move our eye around and stuff. But he also includes, with sort of these monstrous figures, a lot of like sort of figurative studies, and the figures are really beautifully rendered, and also, they're very they're very accurate, eloquent figures, but they have a gesture to them, which is nice. It can be, we practice figure drawing here, and it's like, so we know it can be, a challenge, right? Just kind of
Little
capture the
daunting.
gesture, but then also make it accurate and stuff. So there's a real art to it. Here's the, even further back in history. We're going back in time, right? This is very generous, I think, for an
Oh,
artist to
cool.
do, to like to kind of show you
Yeah.
the process. I'm not
Mm,
always so comfortable with it personally. I really feel like it's something I want to, like get more in touch with. I mean, because it's like you can see it. He put this one on, and then a few weeks later, or whenever he works really fast. That's what I learned about about him watching his demonstration. He can work very quickly. But then, like put this one on, and then you get a little further, you put the next one on. What if it doesn't work out? What if it always looks unfinished and that sort of a thing? So you gotta have the confidence and to know that it's gonna, you're gonna be able to make something, that's really, the quality is gonna. You're already seeing the quality, right? And you know what's gonna happen. This is, I think, similar to starting a freehand piece on your client, right? You have to, you're going to start it. It's going to look like hell. It's going to look
started
crazy.
yellow or an orange,
Yeah.
and then build up with red and green.
Yeah, it looks insane, and then you're like you see it. You know what I mean? You can see what you got going on. You're like, all right, I can see that. I know this is going to be awesome, and you're like, all right, customer, check out what I drawn for you. You know what I mean? It takes a bit, I think, it takes a leap of faith, right? In both yourself, but also the customer. Anyways, uh,
Nice.
Wow.
yeah, some atmospheric stuff. It was really interesting. There's at this, on this date, in history, everybody, right? There are wildfires that are, burning in Canada, and it just so happens that like where I live, we're getting a bit of the smoke, so it's atmospheric. So in a way, everything looks like a painting outside. Everything looks more like
Oh, really?
yeah. It's like like the trees are much more layered, right? Because there's like this atmosphere between them, so they have like that's the trick that painters and artists use to sort of
Hmm.
give you that depth, that atmosphere. It's not as intense. It becomes more, becomes bluer in a certain way.
Like
It's
everything has
almost
a
body.
background almost,
What's that?
or atmosphere. Like every it's like the smoke is giving everything like a background almost.
Yes. And what's also interesting too is like, as the sun is setting, you can see like it changes the character of the setting sun, right? Like
Hmm.
makes it much more flat and uh you know, it just looks like this it looks like a science fiction movie special effect. Right? It's well,
Wow.
that's just how it's just like you see it. It's just the sun looks strange, and you're like, yeah, because you see the sun. You can't stare at it still. It's still the sun, but but there's a certain like there's a veil that's sort of been placed on everything, and it's this misty atmospheric stuff. Um, yeah, dystopian future. Anyone? Maybe. Maybe it's here. Um, but anyway, no, it's well, I was thinking about Mark Nelson, um, and so I checked it. I hadn't checked him out in a while, and you know, um, uh, here he is. I wanted to share him with you all, so you could all also love Mark Nelson. Maybe that's my suggestion. You have to make your own mind up, um, but he's very consistent, very consistent in his in his practice and approach. And that's the thing that he would tell this story about like illustrators, you know that I keep saying this back in the day, but like throughout his experience being an illustrator, uh, they would start off in the morning, and they would do thumbnail sketches, they would do concepts or something. In the afternoon, then they'd sit down and they'd have some other project that they were like, you know, at another stage at, and they, you know, they'd crank out all this background or all this environment, or, you know, or render these characters and stuff. It's there's a lot of labor that goes on into, you know, so the production of artworks, and so, you know, we're familiar with that to a certain degree, but yeah, it's just it's incredible. I think to, you know, like, so many there's so many ways that all this stuff gets applied, but um, you know, the style that you bring to things, and then of course like the approach that you have to them, um, it's what it's how it develops, right? Just this doesn't just
It
happen.
is.
We just saw there's all
It
this
is refreshing to
development.
sometimes. I'm sorry, James.
What are you saying? Yeah, one more time.
I,
Say that.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say. Sometimes it's with conversations. It is a little difficult with Zoom because you kind of want to interject, but then the
Yes.
sound is not the same. So I apologize for interjecting. But I definitely understand what you mean when you say that that there's really really hard work and tedious work behind this artwork, and it's sometimes it's relieving to know to find that out. You know, like I am taking a course in learning to do realism, and just the steps that they take are just so meticulous, and it's just a relief that these people don't just wake up and just spit it out and they just know how to do it. You know, yeah, there is a process, and I just wanted to piggyback on that. Continue, please.
No, that was I love that. And I think that's exactly, you know, that's what I'm trying to relate, you know, to you all, to
Mm-hmm.
myself, you know what I mean? Just to remember, you know, like that there's we can, you know, we can look at this finished product and, you know, start to think, you know, I don't, you know, compare yourself in some way. But I think the real
Mm-hmm.
comparison is that in that they have to work hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like we have to work hard to do the thing that we do, and you know, and anyway, yeah, back to this whole idea. You balance stuff. You know, as you're working hard, you have to figure out some way. Um, yeah, you have to figure out some way. Should be liking these
That's
things.
dope.
Um,
Look at that.
so fun. No, it looks like the '80s too, which is very, you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
very fun. And that's, I think, a part of it too. You know, some, you know, there are these images that define eras and stuff, and that I think, you know, I'm really interested in that. But almost getting back to our whole notion of, you know, like good tattoo, bad tattoo. I, it's funny, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I recently had to do, you know, but recently got to, right? I got to do a design that you know, that a client had brought in, and it was there was a certain kind of, you know, crudeness to it. You know, the outlines were shaky and stuff. It had like a childlike quality to the drawing, but it wasn't that. It was, you know, it was sort of like delightfully crappy. Let's say it like that. And so, you know, it was interesting to execute this thing. There were some challenges in trying to make it sure that, you know, I was like maintain the fidelity of the image. But that gets to this whole thing. Like, that's not what I'm interested in personally, as far as like, I don't want that, you know, I don't want to have that on myself per se, or, you know, I'm not that interested in doing them. But there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's like tattoos are so expressive. There's, you know, what you like is what you like. Artwork is the same way, right? It's so specific and individual. You know, what you really like is I think is just sort of this mirror uh, of your spirit. So, anyways, that's the this is what I wanted to share. Was, you know, was a little bit of artwork. Somebody who I admire, and I think they're um, I love seeing, you know, when they share stuff, and I love seeing their work. So yeah, that was fun. Thank you all for checking that out. Mark Nelson. So yeah, give him a follow and
Absolutely.
what's that?
I'm absolutely going to follow it.
Oh, awesome.
I have a pen and ink.
Yeah. No, I think
What's his name one more time?
Mark Nelson.
Nelson. Sweet.
Yeah, Mark Nelson. So yeah, there's something, I also follow Tim Biedron. He's under Only the Dead Are Smiling. He's a really fantastic tattooer. Let me see if I'll share that.
I would like to know what that means. Only the dead are smiling. What the? Curious.
Let's see here. I think I can. I think I can share.
I
get.
don't
I
have to worry
see.
about bills and stuff. So
One more time.
I said they don't have to worry about bills and stuff. So I could see why they're
No,
smiling.
that is
Yeah.
factual.
Facts.
So they.
Dang.
Anyway, so here's Tim Biedron and just.
Oh, that's good.
So in my mind, I kind of relate a bit, right? The Mark Nelson sort of aesthetic, and then I don't know if if Tim Biedron is even aware of him or not. I don't know, but at the same time, there is something really kind of very tattooy, right? But then also very illustrative, because his tattoos are amazing. Let's see this fish guy. That's fun, right? Sort of there's like this bit of distinction, right? And like there's a photorealistic, right, and then realistic. Realistic sort of being just something that represents reality, right? But photorealism being copying this photo very a high degree of like fidelity, or you're trying to very sort of closely follow a photograph. So in this one, there's a bit of stylization to the fish. It's very close to almost like a photo. It's right there, but then the waves are so stylized, so it's represents this thing. It has there's a real Japanese finger wave aesthetic going on with the waves, which I think is so just so appealing. Just very, there's something very fresh, I feel, about like this application of, this mashup, right, if you will. Because like it's likely this fish is, Japanese art, like the koi fish is, would be like a native fish that they see all the time, and largemouth bass is probably more like a North American sort of fish. So anyway, interesting, right? You're borrowing from the history of art and sort of coming up with some new kind of construction, some new kind of thing. But yeah, I love this one too.
That's look at that.
Beautiful. Anyway, yeah, so Only the Dead Are Smiling. Tim Biedron. Like and follow him as well. Check him out. I mean, because it's this work. See, there's some details and stuff. It's like a skull face. The basket. Frogs and toads. Gorgeous. Yeah, and there's some gestural sort of pencil thing going on. You know what I mean? There's all this render, and it's there's all this use of tonal value and positive negative relationships and all like things that we do like to talk about a lot. But then there's there's edge and line, and all of these things are a part of it too. It all adds to a emphasis. It all adds to trying to make it lead our eye around, so we can start to develop a story out of these shapes, right? We take these shapes, we apply a language to it, and then we sort of have a we can make up a narrative in our mind, right? Because images aren't narrative, they just they just help us to evoke one, and that sort of a thing. I don't know, these are go on and on about it. So sick. Oh,
Wow.
so awesome. Just wild. See, is there some different close-ups of this one? A lot of detail.
Yeah, like that's enough right there. You can stop right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Spirit, you were talking about like, you're doing this realism thing, of course, and so you're talking, you're learning about rendering and stuff and different practices. Um, um, help us analyze this one a little bit, right? Give us some. What do you think about it? What are you noticing in it?
Definitely the curvature of the wing, just kind of how it, curves in front. Um, I'm just really liking how they were able to do the texture of the feathers and the cross hatching. There's a lot of cross hatching there. Wow, look at that. Whoa, that's cool.
That's exactly what I was noticing too, was the hatching, right? Because like, I think a lot of times we want to just get in there and blend, you know what I mean? Get all blendy with the but we can't do that when we're tattooing, right? Especially, like whatever, right? But yeah, but like having these sort of marks that are going to be a part of it, I think is so um, can give so much character. And of course, too, like you were saying, there's these forms like the curve of the wing. The cross hatching really starts to give us a description of that as well. Kind of goes around the form and showcases its the qualities and stuff of it. So I'm like, yeah, that's exact. I think I'm definitely on the same sort of like uh, fascinated with the same things as you're saying, like seeing the shapes, the forms, and then also all the hatching. So important. Anyway, yeah. So
Can you go back to that real quick? I just wanted to bring up one thing that you brought during
yeah, no, I definitely
what you were
can.
talking
Give
about.
me a moment, and I'll bring that back. Bring it on back.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah, so just like the second layer of wing here, I just really like how he was able to do that separation of the dark and light. Like it's just so subtle, but like you were talking about that in class one time. Just how you're just able to separate the dark and the light and just make edges as opposed to making lines, and just how lines are just shorthand. Um, for these edges. That's kind of I really like how he was able to do that.
I I think that's like just a very very important note to make about it. That there's overall, right, like this this entity, right, this being here, the crow raven, it has a certain overall kind of value, right? There's a tonal value associated with it. Um,
Mhm.
but by being really judicious about like how the values are related to one another, we can see, he left this, a slightly lighter edge. That's like a line. You know what I mean? It ends up becoming like a line, rather than we just think about, you know, just a line has to be always dark or something. No, right? You can make your line this, this very light valued thing, and it again sort of adds emphasis. But then here, like you were saying, that this edge of one layer of wing against the of feather rather than the next, it does like it just makes it so interesting, but still, they're part of the same. Mm, uh, we relate them to the same being, right? They're all a part,
Yeah.
like this figure against that background. And there's a minimum
hmm
distance between like being able to discern the one from the other. So I think, like these are the things that you got to do. Just to Jason's point about like really studying the history of machines and how they work. even if you don't use coil machines all the time, it gives you so much insight into how, what's going on with them. And then of course, like asking the questions. But then spirit, like you're doing like realism course and stuff, that coupled with all of the other things you're doing, working hard, and then we do this. I think they all have this combinatory effect. Everything sort of combines together, and it's hard. It's slow going.
You're
Right.
literally making connections, neurological connections in the brain, and it does take time. I mean, and then there will be that one connection that will light up your brain like a light bulb.
Mm.
You gotta be there for it, don't you? You know
You
what I
gotta be
mean?
there for
You gotta be there for the event,
it.
right?
That's
It's
right.
well, you go. It's like maybe you go and do something, and it's like the same old, and it's always is every time, except for that one time, like you say. Is that one time where something
Hmm.
is different, sends you down a new path, or you or you meet someone new, or whatever the case may be, and it's
Hmm.
like that's the event. That's the thing that changes everything. And you wouldn't know it. That's like destiny, right? Like, like we can't know what's gonna happen, but it's only like after it does, we can look back and be like, oh, look at all the signs. It was pointing towards this, this way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It's funny.
Mhm.
It's like there's no way you can know it. You can't predict the future. I
Right.
don't believe, but you can certainly like look back and say, this predicted the future. This predicted that was going to happen that way. It's very funny. But anyway, I don't know. I love Tim Biedron's work. Um, I think he's out on the West Coast these days, but he used to be tattooing in Chicago, Deluxe Tattoo, I believe. He tattooed there for a long time. So got to see some of his tattoos in person, and they're amazing. So anyway, yep, just wanted to show a couple of artworks today. Get your week off, on an inspired note. And so
Oh,
yeah, no, I think that's I'm so glad. Let me invite some comments, or some other, if anybody has other things they'd like to share, or
hey,
if you got drawings you want to share, I'd love to showcase you. So
all right. I'm working on this realism skull for the class I'm doing. Here we go. I wanted
right,
to get everybody's opinion. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. So this is what I'm working on here.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
incredible.
Yeah, so basically, this is so what I found is this shit takes a long time,
Mhm.
and you're not just, it's not just putting the pay. I mean, you're really just sitting here, just pushing, you're literally pushing sand. You know what I'm saying? You're pushing individual granules of graphite here. That's what you're doing.
Mhm.
I I thought it wasn't so. Um, I thought it was just. It is refreshing to know that there's so much work involved in this. Um, I didn't think that I could do it. I thought you just had to have a certain type of brain in order to do this kind of stuff. Or I thought you just, you had to grow up drawing that kind of stuff. But not that there's not like there's a formula of it. So there's a formula, and the sacrifice is time and energy. You know.
Can we,
Um,
can we see it again?
oh yeah, totally.
Just want to check it out. I
Oh,
think it's Yeah, I think it's gorgeous,
Yes.
turning out so well. Um, and I really think that you've done a really great job at matching up the tone, right?
Mm.
You're putting the, it's even like I can just barely make it out. It's very subtle and like, so in a drawing, I think you can do this, and maybe with the tattoo, you might have to like add more emphasis, but the eye socket on the shadow side, you've even got that a little darker, right? In your drawing, it's darker, and the reference. I mean, it's just a subtle thing, but
Yes, some subtle things.
you can feel it, right? There's a sort of it's palpable in that way. So
Would you like me to? I can plug the class in the chat. I don't know if you guys are.
yeah, sure,
Okay.
definitely. Let us know. I know I've seen that skull before, but at the same time, it sounds like you're really getting a lot out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, but yeah, right. You get out of it what what you put into it and stuff. So, up. All right, sharpen those pencils. You got to keep those pencils sharp.
Carlos Lopez. Absolutely.
Mm.
Or Carl Lopez. Yeah.
Yeah, Carl Lopez.
Have you done this course, Jason?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I have it, and I bought it a while back. Kind of breezed through it, and a lot of the stuff I saw in there was a lot of stuff that I picked up in art school. So
Shit, yeah.
for me, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a good review. But it was all like basic fundamental stuff, like, when you're looking at values, look at shapes. What shape is this? How does this shape compare to that shape, and how does this tone compare to that tone?
And the thing is, what I love about it, right? What I love about it is they actually have a video of where they walk you through it. Like he's actually doing it himself, and you're sitting next to him doing it. And so for it to be the basics, like this is what I need. This is exactly what I need. You know what I mean? It's perfect.
There's a book out there that you may want to pick up a copy of, by the way. I found it to be very enlightening as well. Great compliment as well to the Carl Lopez kind of course. It's called Mastering Realism by Mike DeVries. Mike DeVries is the co-author, who's the Drawing Techniques for the Modern Tattoo Artist, Lanny Markowski. And I can find a link and I can drop it down to you. But it goes through a lot of the same stuff. It's through Memento Publishing. They do a lot of tattoo-based books, but it goes through a lot of the same things. It goes through and it focuses on edge versus line, light versus
and what
dark,
I found is
lights.
What I found is that it is the consistency that is helping me learn the most. Like if I go somewhere else and read this, right? If I go somewhere else and read the same thing, then okay, this is true. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You start to notice common themes and common messages throughout a lot of it. So
yeah.
But that book was phenomenal.
Thank you for that information. I appreciate that. That's great.
I love this, and I think this is exactly this whole, like you were saying, pushing sand. I was telling that story about punching sand. It's the same sort of thing, like you have to put in this work, and then there's some kind of focus that comes from it. You know what I mean? And I think I'm hoping that what we saw today with the work of Mark Nelson and Tim Biedron, that like they're really creating these original compositions, but they're using their experience with being able to sort of render, in this highly representational, perhaps even photorealistic way. Like it informs the way that they create these new things. And so a lot of the stuff that that I like to talk about is very, it's very basic, you know, uh, almost it's almost it feels silly at times. You know what I mean? Just there's it's right there. But I do believe that it's being able to sort of use all of that stuff to build up to what it is that expression, if you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having an expression that starts to generate more energy than you put into it. That's when that's where the magic is. You know what I mean? Like,
Ooh, I like
like
that. I like that.
yeah. Well, you are gonna put in all this effort, and you're gonna make works that don't really do much, right? It happens,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, right? It's not every single one of them, but there are some that they just work. They just seem to do. They just seem to generate more energy than you put into it. So it is a really,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a real magical sort of experience. But yeah, Kyle, what are you working on? I'm just like I see you drawing over there. I'm so curious. I want to look over your shoulder.
I'm just trying to figure out the assignment for tonight. I jumped around for
Assignment.
quite a few
Good
different
morning.
things.
Elise.
Oh, hey, Elise, how goes it?
Pretty good.
Elise
I
in
woke
the
up a little
building.
late today.
That's good.
Nice of you to join us. It's great to see you.
Nice. Yeah, I was listening in earlier, but so I was spying.
Well, we're checking out.
Ooh.
We're checking out Kyle's. Let's see. We're just checking out Kyle's drawing.
Mm,
It looks like a
Oh,
cat to me, so
nice.
like a battle owl. Why
what
not?
is this assignment, Kyle? What are you referring to here? What are we talking
The
about?
Monday night drawing class, man.
The Monday night subscribers exclusive drawing group.
Yeah, it's
And Guy
fun.
Edgison's reinventing the tattoo. Yeah, this is awesome. So Battle Owl.
That's
Tell us
awesome.
more.
Yeah. Just like you guys are saying, pushing sand around, trying to figure out what I like the most. So I've gone through so many revisions of this dang thing. But yeah, it's a going.
Dude, I love it. And this is
That's
like,
dope. I like it a lot.
this is a piece you could, you're gonna be able to sell to somebody.
I was about to say I would totally wear that.
Oh,
Forgive me, is this a
Gorgeous.
Harry Potter theme piece?
it could be, definitely. I was thinking of that when
Oh,
I was drawing it.
oh, nice, nice.
Like the project is just a half sleeve of an owl.
Mm.
Or either a chest or a half sleeve. This shape, I don't know if it would really fit the arm very well. Like if I added stuff on the sides, it'd probably be a little bit better, but it definitely adds the possibility of having a lot of like empty space around it. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but yeah. Gosh, yeah, create contrast with textures and feathers and background, blah blah blah. And then yeah, just a little objectives and shit, but yeah.
That's nice. I really like the
speaking
feather texture.
of being able to tattoo your own artwork, I got to start on my elephant.
Mm.
Granted, I took a picture after I put a wrap on it, but yeah, it's in the process of. So I am super excited about that.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so it's an elephant with wing ears, feather ears and stuff. And
Oh, that's hot.
yeah, it's
I just zoomed in on it.
very cool. Awesome. Well, that's so inspiring, I think, especially if for those of you who are, if you're new to this show, or or if you're actually in the subscribers drawing group, that like this is the potential, you know what I mean? You could actually spend that time developing something that you could, you know, I mean, you could do as your own custom work. I think you're kind of, Kyle, I know you've been working for a long time, you've been tattooing a long time, but there's a certain there's a certain degree to where like I see your voice. If you like, your artistic voice seems to be, really the sort of shining through in a certain respect. So I think
So you see growth. So so you have seen growth in Kyle as a result of being in this class in the drawing group.
well, I think just so there's the way that Kyle draws, and that and he's always refining it, always developing it. But I'm seeing these actual designs that are kind of like they're theoretical, right? This customer comes in, and so here's a couple of references. Make your own thing up, and you get that chance. A lot of times, customers bring in a reference, and it's like you got to do that thing. You know what I mean? But if you can actually like synthesize that stuff and create your own. And here Kyle is doing those. He's actually, he's making up something completely different, and people are loving it, and they're coming to him for it from all over the place. So that's that's what I mean. I think, yeah, is he developing? Is he like becoming stronger draftsman, illustrator, tattooer from all this work? Absolutely. But then, of course, like it's so great to see, what I mean, your colleague, like, making these achievements. You know what I mean? Jealous.
Yeah, I love Kyle's work. Like I'm such a fan. Like like I'll be fan. Yeah, I'll be a fan girl on that. Hey Kyle, where do you live?
I live in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay. Sweet.
Where it's way too damn hot, but such is life.
Cool. I've been to Arizona. I went to Hell City one time.
To add to James, I've definitely seen improvement with my artwork. What I used to do to what I'm doing now and what I'm continuing to work on. Like a lot of things, it's the consistency, showing up every Monday, going Monday night, trying to draw on this stuff and in between appointments and stuff like that all the time. Just that consistency. And I've definitely seen improvement in all aspects, my tattooing, my artwork, my professionalism with my clients, just like all around. Like I've seen improvement everywhere as a result of this class and being able to talk to everybody on this show. And just being able to meet everybody and talk to everybody, and just to consistently work on my artwork and put my artwork out there a bit more and just focus on it. It's all around improvement. Like I have certain things that I'm looking for in my own artwork and in my tattooing that I want to see, but like it's still just I've got nothing but good things to say about this reinventing course. Like I love it.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and join this goddamn class. Because I did the does anybody, I feel like I'd be hogged. Does anybody else have anything to say? Is anybody else inspired by what Kyle
Go for it.
Okay. Nah, because I did the reinventing just the course. I'm just kind of like I haven't taken it. I kind of been like, slacking a little bit, but it's okay, life and stuff, had a baby and all that good stuff. So but I just like the idea of the class where you just guys get together and you just talk about your art and you keep each other's work. I really I'd like to be a part of that. That sounds really super fantastic.
It's awesome to be able to hear like different views on like what you're working on. You're like, oh, I didn't even think of that, and you like, you work on that, and it's just it's awesome. It's fun. And it's just there's always so much information. There's a lot of information in the course. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's holy cow. It's you can bite it when you want, you can sit down and have some dinner with it whenever the hell you want. Like
that's fine.
Eating that elephant, that's all you can do. So
that's right.
Well, Jason's an alum of the of the course, and it's so there it is. Well, we can't really like say enough good things about it. But again, it's like that's what's cool is there's no pressure. You know what I mean? There's no pressure. You can come if you want. If you have to take the day off, you can do that too. We're not really taking attendance. There isn't a grade, right? But again, but you do it because your drive. You know what I mean? You want to like improve. You want to improve what it is.
Yeah.
So,
James,
yep.
if you want me to show some examples of what this course can do,
I'd love to
Yes,
see
please.
that. Yeah, let's see it. Here, I'm gonna spotlight you for everyone, Jason.
so this was one of the first assignments that I jumped into the Monday night classes with, and this is what I came up with for the assignment. Thinking like, oh, okay, well, I've read the book, what else could I get out of this? Blah, 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 whatever, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right. It's not the best, but, and it really pushes you to work a lot faster and really pick an idea, commit to an idea and execute the idea. Right? And so I'm sitting down and, I put in some extra hours and whatever, and I'm thinking, all right, it's not bad. It's cool, but whatever. And I saw a whole bunch of other people's work, and then I started really investing time into it and everything like that. Fast forward a little while later, and I think this is one of the this was a draft for one of the last ones that I did. But it forces you and
Pretty serious
really
jump.
helps you take things to another level. A lot of these are just quick little assignments. Certain ones of them, like we had to draw glass, right, which is not easy. And there were elements inside of this glass bell, and just sketching around and whatever. Once again, I didn't really put too much extra work into that. They have different assignments on Chrome, different assignments on lots of different stuff, hands. This was a final project assignment that I put a little bit of extra time into.
Nice.
Love.
I'll bring the background up a little bit so you can actually see it a little bit better. I don't know how that's coming through.
Have you tattooed that on anybody yet, Jason?
No, I actually turned it into prints not too long ago. Because no one was getting it done. So I'm like, whatever, I'll make some money off of it. I'll turn it into a print. But it's one of those things where down to the scale texture, the way that the underbelly moves, the reflective lights, the way that the water moves with the amount of contrast there, the contrast in texture between the smooth, the scales, and the rough rock. These were all things that I picked up, against the like slight wood grain texture in the horn. These are all things that I picked up through the Monday night course, right? I mean, just looking at that alone, looking at, where's my light source? How's that going? This was another assignment, just focusing on texture contrast. Well, it's like, cool. Well, you've got scale texture, which is pretty rough, but still very regular. And then you've got the very smoothness of the water. Cool. Great texture contrast. Wanted to have a very distinctive light source in there, pointing on the head. So does that bright white light hit just the head? Does it reflect off of some of the other scales? How's everything else, positioned? Once again, I think
I like how you did that. You really kind of like put the intense light right on the,
That's really, really, really nice.
Interior light source.
I'm feeling this.
Having a glowing object. We had to do a shell and a lighthouse.
Wow.
Pick your combination, right? And I went with interior light source to show this really illuminated glow of the shell being the light in the lighthouse. Once again, one of the many things that you work on in the Monday night classes. And, it's like, okay, how would you go about approaching this? Where would be your brightest brights? Where would be your darkest darks? How would you show that light rolling around various types of objects? These are all things that are covered in the Monday night classes. I still hop in every chance I get, but for the past few months, life's kind of gotten a hold of me. So it is what it is. we have things like metallic, right? How do you draw chrome? How do you draw brass? They're not easy things to
Yeah,
do.
how do you draw chrome? God damn it.
And it's a lot more difficult than a lot of people think. There's a basic way of like the old school cheat way to do desert chrome, right? But if you really want to look at something and really make it chrome and look like it's chrome, it's a totally different ball game. So
Absolutely.
just some examples of
Reflections.
things that were done. I love the way this guy turned out.
That one's cool.
Yeah, this one, I think this exercise was on focus. And of course I had to pick like the most difficult version of focus, which is a mid-ground focus as opposed to a foreground or a background. I was like, well, I want the focus to be in the middle, right? But how do you emphasize? You can't have so much texture and so much detail on the foreground. So I just kind of roughed those guys in, the little succulents, left the tree that it was supposed to be sitting on pretty vague, had this little succulent in the background, pretty vague. No real major definition in a lot of that stuff. So instead I focused a lot of the detail on the scorpion itself and, really wanted to go through and kind of stress the amount of detail in that, because that's going to bring my focus to the middle ground as opposed to the foreground or the background. So that one was really tricky and really difficult. I totally underestimated how difficult it was to get mid-ground focus in there. So.
Well, I mean, I think it is really, really wonderful piece, and I could definitely see this becoming a tattoo or a print, or maybe you've already done both, but yeah,
I haven't
very
tattooed
cool.
it, but I would love to.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
but yeah, that's just an example.
Thank you for sharing that. Kyle, you too, thank you for sharing your progress. And then of course this, so if you're in the Monday night class, stick with it, right? The Monday night group, I think it can be really useful. I know I've gotten a lot out of it personally. But of course, if you're on the fence, you're thinking about it, come and join us, because it really is, it's a great place to, develop your skills. Oh, that's beautiful, Jason. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I love the edge lighting. Very nicely done. There was one more announcement that I wanted to give, and that is, it's regarding, 1 second here. Yeah, it's regarding Ben Shaw's Discord group. So if you're on Discord, you should consider joining Ben Shaw's his group. It's really dedicated to the Alliance of Professional Tattooists, but also sort of keeping ahead of like all the upcoming legislation, regulatory issues that are going to be surrounding tattooing. Again, I know a lot of people probably just totally resist this, and like, we don't need any rules and we don't need any regulations. We're fine already as an industry. That's another conversation. However, these things are happening, whether you like it or not. So we can either be a part of the conversation, or it can happen without us. Additionally, groups like the Alliance of Professional Tattooists, or APT, is a great way to organize our collective voices. I know that there's a fee. So there's a certain rationality about, like, why do I got to pay another fee? What do you do for me? Well, it's the group that we have, right? And we're stronger together, right? It's not a union, right? It's a trade organization, right? But it's a way, so if you're a tattooer, you should consider, or if your livelihood is impacted by tattooing, you should consider joining and supporting APT. And there's a meetup today at 10 p.m. Mountain Time. If you're it's open to all of the people on that Discord server. So anyway, it's a benshawarchetype.com. You can check it out. That's today, July 17th, 2023. But again, if you can't make it today, you should join up. Where there's new people joining up all the time. So it's another great community. It's important, I think. I really do think so. So anyway, that's it. That's the show. It's
All right.
been a live one, and I think we talked about lots of stuff. I do want to. I'm going to plug real quick my upcoming appearance on Jason's show. Jason, I'm scheduled to be on your show on Sunday the 30th. So I'll see you there on Sunday Skill Building with Jason Leeser.
Yay.
Yay! Yeah. So and so we're trying out this new thing with Reinventing the Tattoo streamers, where we're inviting guests to come onto the show and show us their work, talk about their projects. Maybe for us, it'd be great if we'd love some new exercises, some new drawing techniques and stuff like that. We love seeing that stuff, and so anyway, hopefully we're going to be having some guests in the near future. But Jason, I'm going to be a guest on your show. I'm looking forward to it.
Very
Thanks for
excited
reaching
for
out.
that.
And and thanks everybody for sharing today, your thoughts and your work, and for joining us. It really has been, we couldn't do it without you. I really do think that it's, we are, again, stronger together, and this is, this is a really great group. So really happy to have everybody here. We're going to go around and just do some final sign-offs. So if you can, tell us who you are and where we could find you. Amber, would you mind kicking us off?
Sure. As always, thank you for hosting this. I get so much out of this group every week. My name is Amber Morgaine, and you can find me on all social media sites under Amber Morgaine.
Thank you so much. I saw recently you posted, I think it might have been a throwback. It was like a Tasmanian devil tattoo.
So that was actually a birthday present for a friend of mine like 8 years ago.
Hell yeah. There were, I don't know. I just remember, like growing up, seeing that everybody, like even the most badass, people had Tasmanian, devil tattoo, and like, Bugs Bunny and stuff like that was the thing. You know what I mean? So it was so great to see that.
I did a lot of Taz's that year.
Hell yeah. Anyway, it was a very nice tattoo, and so it was great to see that. And thank you for sharing that, and thanks for coming today. Really great to see you.
Thank you for hosting.
Of course. All right, and Kyle Olson, you're on the spotlight.
All right. So my name is Kyle Olson. I tattoo out of Trinity Art Collective in Tucson, Arizona. If you need to get in contact with me, you can get a hold of me via the website, trinityartcollective.com, or you can hop onto the Instagrams and find me at Olson_tattoos, OLSON. And thanks for having us on here, Jason. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, it was like so awesome to see your progress on your project today, Kyle. And then also, just again, it's like, thanks for sharing you're doing these tattoos based on the work that we're doing together in our class. And so I'm, again, it's great to have you come on, share your insights. And then also it's just, second spirits motion there. Like, we're all really fans of your work. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Of course. All righty. Who's up next? Spirit.
Hey, what's up? This is Spirit. I am over at Black Widow Tattoo Shop in Columbia, South Carolina. You can find me at tattoosbyspirit.com, Tattoos by Spirit, Instagram, Tattoos by Spirit on TikTok. I really enjoy this class. I really get a lot out of it. And I'm really just excited about growth and all that good stuff. Aside from all that can I like call you guys ever? I'm gonna put my number in the chat and like maybe just if you guys put your phone numbers in the chat if you don't mind. Maybe I don't know if you want to ever just um, just talk about tattoos or something. Sometimes Mondays is just too far off. It'll just be
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah,
No,
so
that's
I'll put my number in the chat right now, and if you guys want to hit me up, totally fine.
very cool. And then I think, so I really appreciate, all of your, everything you shared today, Spirit, but also I just want to say as well, it was really great getting a chance to see your progress in the 10 Masters course. That drawing is stellar. So I
Thank
just,
you. Thank you
yeah,
so much.
yeah.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm gonna give everybody a minute. Make sure to save those numbers if you can. Anyways, yeah. So I could probably just take a yeah shot. Okay, got it. Okay, great. So I got this. Anyway, Jason, you are up, my man. Give us your sign-offs.
So my name is Jason Leeser. I host the Skill Building Sunday drawing groups every Sunday at 1 p.m. Would like to invite everyone to come out to that. Would also like to do a quick plug for the Paradise Tattoo Gathering coming up in October. It's going to be absolutely epic this year. I can't wait. Andre Malcolm's going to be there. Corey Ferguson, Jake Meeks from the Fireside Network, Tom Strom will be there, who I'm really excited to see. Just a whole host of just absolutely incredible art. Andy Chambers will be there. Can't wait to take that seminar. And I'm actually doing a seminar on Procreate while I'm there. So I'm very excited to be a part of it this year. If anyone ever wants to reach out to me or get a hold of me, well, those of you that put your number in the chat, I'll send you a text. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Philly Inc. It's right up here. There you go. Go through. Feel free to shoot me a DM. I'm always down to talk about tattoos or art or whatever. Also, if anyone ever needs prints made, let me know. I do that as well. It's a service I provide for people that are a part of the reinventing community. So if anyone ever needs anything made, let me know.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming on today, Jason. Really is always a pleasure. Enjoyed our conversation about machines. Also, thank you for sharing your development, your artistic sort of journey. And so it's great seeing your work. Looking forward to seeing you at Paradise. I'm also going to be there. I'm going to Paradise. Yeah.
If you have any specific mediums you'd like to work in, let me know. I'm organizing the collaborative art area. So I'm bringing acrylic paints, oil paints, chalk and charcoal, a roll of tone tan, drawing paper, roll of white heavyweight paper used for mixed media, just some different stuff, some like pre-stretched canvases. But if you have anything specific you want me to bring, let me know, and I'll be happy to bring it.
Yeah, we should crochet some stuff, I think.
I don't think I have anything to crochet.
I know.
I do.
I know. And anyway, yeah, this is it's great. I'm so glad you come on. I'm looking forward to Paradise. I'm also we're gonna do drawing for tattooers live from Paradise. So it's gonna be amazing. Anyway, thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate you for coming on, as always. And definitely, hopefully see you next time. But I'll definitely see you in a couple weeks. So. All right. And Elise, if you would,
It's me.
love to know where we could find you.
I'm Elise Morrow. I'm a Chicago-based 3D artist, and you can find me at Elise Morrow Visuals on ArtStation and Instagram, or find me at elisemorrowvisuals.com.
Amazing. Thanks for joining us. It was, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm sure we'll catch up later, but at the same time, again, it's great you could join. Yeah, so thanks for coming. All right, and I'm James Wisdom. You can find me social media and the internet, Tattooing Wisdom, tattooingwisdom.com. This has been Drawing for Tattooers. If you're still here, you should definitely like and subscribe. But please join us next week, where we will continue our artistic journey. Talk about fundamentals, talk about tattoo, talk shop, no big whoop. But also, it's always great to have you. Again, couldn't do it without you. So I hope you all have a fantastic week. Happy drawing, right? And we're going to see you next stream. All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Thank